My fellow citizens of all nations, the construction that we see behind me is basically built in a sort of honor of Rome. It's built in a Roman style. And since I randomly came to this location, I thought that it would be amazing idea basically to finally record this video and explain why I think the Roman Empire basically fell and what was the main reason for the collapse of the empire. So it is not that complicated, the collapse itself, right? There is two things that we could say that ancient Rome stood on. It was the cult of empire, where basically at certain point in a Roman Empire, the idea that rule based on logic and sense was replaced by the cult and cultish view toward the emperor, and the emperor was sort of a spiritual symbol of the Rome. And people in a certain period started to stop believing in the emperor, and it was replaced mainly by religion, which Rome pushed the Christianity to. Basically, they thought that okay, the empire is collapsing, and let's push Christianity. Maybe it can save empire. So Christianity comes to power. We have a sort of a Christian version of a Roman Empire, which is known as a Byzantine Empire in world history. But that model, basically, the idea was that in the heavens there was a Holy Father, so in earth there was an emperor of a Roman people, just like there was only Holy Father in the heavens, so there was just one emperor. But that sort of rule did not last long. I mean, it did last for quite a while, but in a certain sense that model failed to rule the people itself. And Rome for its time had quite achievements. So before the Christianity took over the Rome, for example, there was only maybe 10% of population was a Christian, but at the end we saw that basically Christianity wasn't a tolerant religion, and there was a lot of infighting, a lot of civil strifes in a Byzantine Empire, for example, and pagans were persecuted, punished. Lots of people don't even know, but in a city of Constantinople, there was two other major religious centers, just like Hagia Sophia. But at the certain period, these sort of great religions simply disappeared from Rome, and now it's sort of got remembered as a place where Hagia Sophia is, but it is not the truth, actually. And there was this two major religions which simply disappeared. And the point is that the Christian model of the empire did not work, and it collapsed. The second point is the basically problem of incompetence. So the certain families over time obtained much more influence than the others will have. So it basically provided the situation. So the military system sort of collapsed, and also the advancement of warfare and new challengers appearing on the continent, and it's a constant struggle, and it's also very difficult. For example, if there's a rebellion in some Gallia, for example, and there is a possible uprising in, let's say, toward the Asian continent somewhere, it's really difficult to just react to it promptly as well and just do it. It's really, really difficult. So it was sort of a problem of logistics as well. The empire could not handle it. Plus the slave system of empire, which stayed in Rome. Just let's not forget that we talked about the Byzantine Empire. I mean, Christianity doesn't have a problem with slavery per se. It still continued in certain forms, but there is also the celibatism, the idea of priesthood. Who are the monks? Monks are the people basically that refuse to work or just live a normal life, and what they choose instead is to sacrifice for God and live for God. And this is not constructive for the imperial way. There is this way of thinking that a pagan, for example, could swear that he would fight to death until whatever. But the mentality shifts as well. So, for example, the religious people could have said that, okay, I am going to fight as hard as I can, But at the end of the day, it's a God's will, so I cannot go beyond the will of God. So if God wills that it is a victory, it will be a victory. But if God does not will it, then I will just do my best. And this is sort of a ideological side. Of course, there is a financial side to it as well. Just to summarize the main challenges: the ideological challenge, changing the older beliefs with a new one, did not work. The second is the fact that influential families which were not competent actually were in power. And the third would be the logistic. It's really difficult to just call armies and just react on time. Even though Rome had roads and etc., it was still difficult to sort of react on time. And as well, the adversaries and the migration of this, for example, Germanic people, and we all know what was happening in Gallia and etc. And of course, the Mongols appeared and the other Turkic tribes sort of starting migrating, and there was this sort of rivalry between major empires and etc. Which we were to think about it, it was unexpected events, lots of unexpected events that took place over the period of time. And there was a Persian Empire, which was its main sort of competitor, I guess, and there was lots of unexpected situations. And at the end of the day, it was really difficult for empire to survive, and mostly like internal rivalry. When the end of the empire, pretty much empire by, I would argue, by period where, for example, the Crusades began, etc., it was pretty much done. And the situation did not become better. We know how Christianity simply could not help. It was just a rivalry, power struggle, etc., which further weakened the empire. In fact, one of the reasons the Crusades really started, it was the Byzantine Empire sending a letter to Vatican saying that, oh, we are struggling, could you help us? We are losing territories to these people and etc. But it did not work. It was a bad choice historical, but it was impossible to tell. And yeah, these are the main things that caused the empire to fall.